John Schroder is the
State Treasurer.
I want to say Secretary of Treasury, who sounds awesome. State Treasurer for the state of Louisiana. Hey, Mr. John, how are you today?
Good morning, guys. How y'all?
So you are in town today?
Let me give you a warning, because you're going to the Lions Club in Bossier City today for a noon speech. Of that Lions Club, they're prone to cutting off your tie if you're late. I'm just giving you a heads up.
Well, we're well on our way, so
Okay.
if I'm late, it's going to be at
Okay.
least there's no rain to blame it on.
Well, if you are late, put on an old tie. Just saying.
Okay.
Clip on. Trust me, the clip on will get them every time. So, Mr. John, later today, the Revenue Estimating Conference comes back with a whole bunch of numbers. You're the Treasury guy. What are you hearing? What do you hear? Sort of give us a peek behind the curtain.
Well, I'm actually meeting as we speak. They started at 7:30 this morning. So the numbers sound to be a little bit better. Not a lot better. I mean, it's not going to close the gap of what the administration's talking, but it is a little bit better. I was at the Capitol last night about 8:30, meeting with some staff members and some legislators. So it's not all gloom and doom. I tell people, this is not what I would categorize as catastrophic. Our biggest problem as a state is government growth is happens at a rapid pace, and somehow we have to figure out how to stop that, because we can't keep up with it as taxpayers. So,
Pardon me just a second, Mr. John. It's call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I see, the governor is on this in this conference, and the president of the Senate, and then they get to appoint an economist, and it's like 3-1 on the governor's side.
Yeah.
Is there any concern on your part that the numbers are the real numbers?
Well, they're going to be close, because you have several different economists, and they have to vote to pick which one, but it gets you in the ballpark. It still doesn't change my opinion on what the core problem with state government is.
And what's that?
Not just state government, the federal government, local government, all government. They have a built-in structure that you can't really tinker with, and it grows too fast. I mean, look, what I'm going to tell the Lions Club in Bossier today, government's growing at 12+%. Your personal growth is somewhere between 2.9 and 3%.
How do we change that? What's the answer?
Well, somehow you have to figure out a way to stop government growing faster than what your personal wealth is growing, because it grows faster than your personal wealth. We're on an unaffordable track. So I tell people, you first, just like any problem you have in your life, you first have to acknowledge that it's a problem. This governor has not acknowledged the fact that government is broken. It's structurally inefficient. It's unsustainable. Until those words come out of his mouth, it's not going to get fixed, at least not from his end.
We had spoken with Representative Raymond Cruz a while back. And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, that no matter what these numbers from the conference come back, what they happen to be, the governor still wants another special session. Well, I don't know how many special sessions this is, but it would seem to me if the governor was getting what he wanted from these special sessions, he wouldn't keep wanting special sessions.
Well, that's because the governor's only listening to his particular constituency, and he, look, I don't want to make this personal, because it's not, because I personally like the guy, but he's not listening to the majority of people in Louisiana. He's listening to his constituency. Look, they just had some polls come up by LSU. 78% of the people say they trust government only some of the time or never. 78%.
I guess
that's crazy high.
What I was just going to finish up with was the makeup of the legislature. Nothing really has changed since the last special session. So what's the point of having another one if you haven't gotten what you wanted from the previous ones?
Look, and this is what, the third or fourth one. So, look, the administration is stuck on what they want, and they think they're going to stuff it down the House of Representatives. He believes he controls the Senate, and in a lot of cases that's true, but he thinks he's going to, through the media, stuff it down the throats of the House of Representatives. I don't see it happening. You might go to a special session and come out what you came up with, 20 months ago with some partial sales tax. But I think revenue estimate is going to come back today. Everybody, at least some people, have talked about the money being generated from the federal tax changes. The number I saw last night was in the $370 million range. If y'all remember back a few months ago, that was as low as $100 million.
Right.
So that has grown. One of the other things that I would like to mention, if we have a minute,
sure,
this surplus that the governor talks about. So now there's this supplemental bill where he wants to take about $80+ million or so dollars and spend it on pet projects across the state of Louisiana. I just want the listeners know when the governors typically put out bills like this, they're buying votes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you about a constitutional convention to restructure our taxes in the state. You've been in your job long enough now. Is that something we need to move toward?
Well, look, I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's very legal and pretty complicated. We tried. I spent 10 years on the budget committee and working on the budget in Louisiana, and there are ways, quite honestly, that you can fix it without going to a convention. There absolutely is. But we tried that. Tried it for 10 years. Hadn't worked.
Mm-hmm.
So then I switched and said, you know what? I'll fully support a convention. Then I started talking to constitutional lawyers. And they started telling me, well, if you go to a convention, this could happen, that could happen. These are possibilities. And unless it's very limited, and let me give you an example. I think it's very good that you have to have a 2/3 vote to get a tax through the legislature. That's in the Constitution. What I'm starting to fear is what will we lose? Not only there are things to gain, but there are some things to lose. And is it worth going to a convention to do it? Because everybody makes a big deal about the legislature not agreeing. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think – I've been married 33 years next month. My wife and I have disagreed about a lot of things over 33 years. We're still married. She still loves me very much. I still love her very much. And that's the process of the legislature. The legislature has checks and balances.
Right.
People say we wasted all this money in a special session. No, we didn't. They didn't raise $1 billion in taxes. The governor called the legislature in the session. The legislature didn't call themselves.
Treasurer, is the governor, is he a one-term governor in your view?
Look, again, I like the guy. I don't like his policy. If it's up to me, absolutely, because I think you need some very proactive people in government right now that turns this thing upside down